Hi there, welcome to I'll Fly Tarot. I'm going to do a tarot card reading for Scorpio energy. And for this round of 12 zodiac sign readings, we're going to do this 10 card spread again. And we're going to shuffle the Intuit deck to see what that wants to add to the story. And at the end, we're going to see what could be coming up next for people depending on how they harness their Scorpio energy. And we're going to read this from a couple different perspectives because not everybody harnesses high vibe Scorpio energy. High vibe Scorpio emotional water sign energy is people who are willing to explore the mysteries of life emotionally. We're emotionally complex human beings, and some people want to explore the mysteries of life emotionally. The highs and the lows is kind of like going on the emotional roller coaster. I am willing to do love. I know that everything I go pursue won't work out the way that I want it to work out, but I'm not willing to give up my loving nature, basically, to settle for the merry-go-round of life. Because shadowy Scorpio can be where people want kind of reject their more high vibe Scorpio nature, and they might decide to live a more emotionally shallow, superficial life, keep their emotions more buried beneath the surface. You know, we are emotionally complex. Some people find it so confusing, they just don't really want to deal with their emotions, and so then they can really kind of suppress their more emotional nature and kind of use their emotions more manipulatively in a relationship, because they're just not comfortable being in more deep, meaningful relationships. So, you know, if you find yourself in a mismatched relationship like that, if that isn't the kind of life you want, you might distance yourself from some people who are like that to find people who are kind of brave enough to explore the mysteries of life. The Intuit deck we have, do not dim your light for anybody. Shine on you, crazy diamond. And the reason that came out is because of paranoia. So some people, you know, high vibe energy is about being more independent, freeing yourself from things that manipulate you to live your more authentic life and let love and intuition be the guiding factor in your life versus fear and insecurity and pride and ego and defensiveness. And some people are afraid to be more authentically themselves. You know, maybe make their life more about conforming to the world or something. So let's continue on. The overarching reason for the reading is the Wheel of Fortune. We're either going with the flow, accepting life and the truth of what is and dealing with that, or we can cling to the past and we want to try to force the Wheel of Fortune to go in our favor. We're not learning and growing and healing, but we're going to try to force the Wheel of Fate to go in our favor anyway. And the Wheel of Fate talks about, too, that, you know, we'll kind of reap what we sow to a degree. If we're kind of being superficial and shallow, odds are the people who want to keep moving forward with us in a relationship might be other people in their fear or their insecurity or are more superficial and shallow. And if we move forward with more hope and faith and belief and we realize who's not on that page and we move forward with people who are, then, you know, then the Wheel of Fate will go in our favor because we are dealing with the truth of the situation. So, what's going on in Scorpio energy? We start out with a card not showing itself, which is the World card, the Three of Swords, and the Two of Swords, two cards of Libra energy. Some of you could be dealing with Libras, but overall, we're looking to deal with people who we think have seen the truth, that if they don't listen to their intuition and truth and love to guide them, they're going to keep staying stuck and wanting to stay in denial of the truth. And some people reject learning lessons. In high vibe, the world is about learning lessons. And we could have all dealt with people in our life that are like, nope, I have an idea. I might feel stuck, but instead of letting love and intuition guide me, I have an idea. That can be us operating from our pride and ego, and pride comes before the fall. And some people still don't want to see the truth that maybe they got some lessons to learn. You know, we have to get out of our more prideful, egotistical, defensive, fear, insecurity and stuff and deal with the truth of it because the truth sets us free. Some people have seen the truth, and they have learned to listen to their intuition. And we've all got lessons to learn about listening to our intuition, because, it's just part of one of the things we have to learn in life. And some people have learned that. Other people keep ignoring their intuition. And I think our intuition was given to us as a gift to help us navigate in this world. Just like bats have sonar, birds and butterflies know to fly to warmer climates when the weather turns cold. As human beings, though, we have free will. We have those innate kind of sixth sense things. But as human beings, we can say, nope, 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 I'm not going to listen to that. Nope, I'm going to keep doing things the way I've been doing it because I think this makes sense, or this will keep me safe, or this is going to be fun. And some people keep repeating old patterns over and over and over. Other people, we've all been there. Other people learn lessons in life. And for those of you that have learned some lessons in life, there's some other people in your life that don't realize you have seen the truth. They could think you're still in denial of the truth, maybe that you're still heartbroken. And with some people in your life, you're like, no, I've seen the truth of that situation. If there was some people in your life who you thought kind of acted in a shadowy way in some regard, immature, prideful, egotistical, bossy, controlling, whatever it was, you have seen the truth of it. And your balance between your mind and your heart. High vibe Libra energy is represented by the scales of justice, and you have reconciled yourself with some past pain and heartbreak. Some people in your life who you do know harness what they think is just and fair is different than what you think is just and fair, and you could think they're kind of hurtful or unkind or unjust or unfair. You've seen the truth of it, and you don't want to have new beginnings with those people, and you're listening to your intuition. It's just that some of those people aren't seeing the truth of you. And then you can meet other people in the world, and they could think that, oh, you're heartbroken. Oh, you're stuck. Maybe I can come try to take advantage of you or manipulate you or something. And what they don't realize is I've already learned some of these lessons in life about people who are kind of shadowy, and I'm going to listen to my intuition moving forward. So then we have the Ace of Cups, the High Priestess, the Seven of Swords, and the Wheel of Fortune. High vibe people offered love to themselves. When something didn't work out the way they wanted, they offered love, because love is what helps, is the answer. So they offered love to the situation to deal with the truth of the situation. Everybody's where they're at. Life's about learning lessons. Some people are very loving, nurturing, supportive, authentic, just, fair, act with character and integrity. And some people haven't learned those lessons yet. And so you offered love to the situation to not stay stuck, to see the truth that some people haven't learned some lessons in life, and they might want to stay in denial of some truths about being more just and fair, acting with character and integrity, being more authentic. And you just offered love to the situation so that you could move on. Because in the Knight of Cups after that is, I want to move forward in hope and faith and belief and love and believing in my dreams still. And I do still believe in my dreams. I just realize that some people, I can't have my dream come into reality with them because they still have some lessons to learn in life about being more just or fair or balanced in a relationship. So then you emotionally invested in, this is Pisces energy, this is Pisces and Cancer energy, emotional water sign energy of listening to love and intuition to guide you. And you're listening to your intuition. The Seven of Swords is Aquarius energy. You have a dream and you want to bring your dream into reality, and you're listening to your intuition. And some other people might be they have a dream, but again, they're moving forward in a way, but they're still in denial of the truth. And, it's just like growing up and maturing yourself. Just like when we were more immature, we moved forward in life because that's how we viewed life. We still hadn't been illuminated to the truth. And high vibe Pisces and Cancer, when you harness those energies in a more high vibrational way, you've been enlightened to the truth that it is about believing in yourself, loving yourself, offering love and compassion to yourself and others. This is offering love to your more worldly nature in the Five of Pentacles. I can have my own lack mentality, my own fears, my own insecurities. I offer love to those things. The High Priestess can be like connecting in with your higher self. Like if I were to imagine my life in 20 years, what kind of person do I want to be in 20 years? You know, do I want to keep doing the same old stuff I've been doing? Do I want to kind of grow to my full potential? And if we connect in with like our higher self and our intuitive, creative, inspired nature, we learn not to give up on our dreams just because we've dealt with people who might be hurtful or unkind, or that we feel are kind of deceptive or manipulative, or maybe more caught up in themselves or these things of the world, wanting to look like a shining star in the world can be the most important thing, or they need to be the center of attention. And you just kind of realize that some people, just like some people could have thought about you at one time in your life, because we're all healing and growing and maturing ourselves. And if we're kind of at a more immature way of viewing life, and there's things that we haven't been enlightened to, other people could have seen that truth about us at one point in time, right? And we can feel that way in regards to other people because, you know, there's all these different people in the world, and some people are on the same page as us, some people are ahead of us, some people are kind of behind us learning lessons, and we're in that place in relationship to other people. But we're all living our life at the stage that we are. High vibe people have learned to listen to their intuition and not give up on their dreams, and they're going with the flow. I accept the truth of what the situation is. I've seen that some people live more from their mind than their heart, are more caught up in themselves or things of the world, might be more immature than me, might have illusions about what it means to be in relationships. I feel. So, I accept the truth of it, and I offer myself love to keep moving forward. And even though it could have put me up in a mental prison for a bit, I've done this work within myself in the Virgo Hermit to kind of see the truth that was hidden, because we can get in relationships with people and we think we both could harness high vibe Libra energy, that will be just and fair and listen to our intuition and have hope and faith and belief in ourselves and in our dreams. But then as time goes by in the Wheel of Fortune, in some workplaces, friendships, and relationships, we could realize one person kind of harnesses these energies in a more shadowy way, shadowy Pisces, shadowy Taurus, shadowy Gemini, which their truth could be, because Gemini energy is about our dualistic nature and what our truth is, that one person kind of still is kind of more motivated and inspired still by the world, living more from their mind than their heart, and they could get caught up in these things of the world and want to make their life more about indulging in things to make themselves feel better, or make their life more about themselves, make their life more about status and ego and image, because they could have a lot of fears and insecurities about love, and they could feel that if I look like a shining star in the world in some way, that other people will move forward and keep moving forward with me in a relationship, even if I keep them up in their head, or they have fears or whatever about moving forward with me in a relationship. You know, shadowy energy at the big picture, represented by the devil, is trying to use these things of the world to try to get people to keep living their life and making their life more about the world than having hope and faith and belief in themselves and in their dreams. So some people have decided, you know, they could kind of get in relationships, maybe try to find people who they think are heartbroken, who don't know the truth about them. They're hiding that they're kind of more deceptive and manipulative in a relationship and live more from their mind than their heart, and think that if they create this illusion, that shadowy Pisces energy, which anyone can harness, I'll just create this illusion about what's happened in my life and why I'm moving forward the way I'm moving forward. And if I can get that person to move forward with me in a relationship, maybe they're in a mental prison about the truth, that it should be about love and being authentic and treating people in a just and fair manner. If I can get them to get in a relationship with me and get them to move forward with me, to detach from something else, because the Five of Pentacles moves away from the Four of Pentacles, which was something people had been holding on to. If I can get them to move forward with me in a relationship, then even if later they do kind of see the truth, like, oops, from the Three of Swords down to the Two of Swords, like, wait a minute, this person isn't who I thought they were. Letting go of the sword of truth. People can get in relationships with people, and then as the relationship goes, they start to realize that person isn't motivated by truth and love. That person kind of created an illusion of love, hiding that they were kind of being deceptive and manipulative in order to get me to move forward with them in a relationship. But then they want me to keep moving forward in a relationship with them. Even though as time has gone by, I start to feel left out in the cold and up in my head about if this person is even motivated and inspired by love, or if it's more about ego and image or fear or codependency or image and status. And the shadowy people are hoping that even that if they can just get people into like taking that job or getting in a relationship with them or marrying them, that once those people do see the truth, they'll hide the truth. Because then you're in a mental prison about leaving that job, that friendship, that relationship. Because we'd all like the things that we invest in to work out, right? And that's sometimes what shadowy people are counting on. I hope that if I get in a relationship with someone, they'll keep emotionally investing in trying to make this relationship work, even though they've kind of seen the truth that I might be in it for different reasons, or I'm not just and fair, or I'm immature, or I'm kind of egotistical and self-centered, or I'm kind of deceptive and manipulative, or I have a fear of love. They're hoping that if they get people to invest in them emotionally, that you'll keep staying in the relationship and keep the truth hidden and just keep moving forward with them anyway. But the thing is, if they don't do this inner work to heal and grow and mature themselves, nothing ever changes in the relationship. And that's kind of what shadowy energy is. It's like stagnant and dead. It doesn't grow and mature itself. The relationships don't become more deep, meaningful, and authentic because they don't do the work within themselves to free themselves from the things that manipulate them to make them live their life like that to begin with. And if they can get in a relationship with someone who is more high vibrational, who is more loving, who is more motivated and inspired by hope and faith and belief and love, then a shadowy person is in a relationship with a more hopeful, believing, loving person, and they're hoping the loving person will keep putting in work and effort to move the relationship forward, even though they could know, I don't ever plan to align with being that type of person myself, but it works out great for them. They're in a relationship with someone who isn't being deceptive and manipulative and trying to manipulate them for some alternative reason. They're actually in it because of love. And you could know some people right now that you could feel are in that kind of mismatched relationship, and everybody has to decide for themselves, when am I done being in denial of the truth? I'm moving forward in a way with people that I feel lack self-awareness, don't look at life from a higher perspective, have some inner work to do that they could refuse to do, don't want to deal with their fear, their insecurity, their pride, their ego, their immature nature. How long am I going to keep moving forward with people like that, hoping one day maybe they'll change? The fives can talk about change. It's one thing to offer people love and encouragement and not be dating them or be in a relationship with them or just kind of have them as a social acquaintance. It's another thing to know someone is in that kind of energy and you do begin dating them or spend more time with them. Because if those people don't want, are more about themselves, have some shadowy traits and characteristics, you're always going to feel left out in the cold and kind of in a mental prison being in a relationship with them. Because you're either being truthful and honest and just and fair and authentic and loving in a relationship, or you're not, and you're kind of trying to maybe manipulate and control people to get them to keep being in a relationship with you. Well, how long do we want to keep staying in friendships and relationships and workplaces where we feel rejected, hurt, maybe feel like people want to win at all costs and they don't care if they hurt you, if you do feel left out in the cold, it's supposed to be more about them, but we have to go through this work within ourselves about our own fears and insecurities about why we stay in that, because it all begins within ourselves. When we work through the issues that would make us stay in a relationship like that, and we kind of see the truth of it, and we offer ourselves love to believe in ourselves and put life in perspective. I'm probably going to live 80 years. How do I want to live my life? Is this how I want to live my life? I'm either in relationships with people who are creating a little heaven on earth, just, fair, loving, encouraging, or I'm in relationships with people who are creating a little hell on earth, being hurtful, being unkind, being deceptive, being manipulative, have their own issues to deal with that they don't want to deal with, me having my issues that I need to deal with, and we can keep moving forward like that. But eventually, it becomes so overwhelming. It's kind of like loving energy in the universe is trying to get people to see the truth of things that cause them pain and heartbreak within themselves and people outside themselves, and to listen to their intuition and love themselves and believe in themselves and offer love to themselves and work through their fears and insecurities and their self-limiting beliefs to get to the truth of the matter. Do I think I deserve to be in just and fair and balanced and loving and warm and authentic and encouraging relationships, or do I not? And when you do that work within yourself, then you do offer love and encouragement to other people for them to look at life from a higher perspective. But if they don't want to see the truth, then we do kind of wish them peace. I have a dream I'm trying to manifest. And if you're not on that same page and you don't view life that way and you don't have that type of aspiration, or you're not willing to deal with the things that cause you a lot of mental conflict or things that manipulate you, out of peace and love, though, I can't keep living my life like this. So I am going to detach. You offered love for them to come with you, and they have the free will choice to not move with you. So you see the truth of it. You detach in that foundation, and though it has you up in your head, you work through your fears and insecurities to stay in high vibe Gemini energy of being focused on truth and love, to close out you repeating that pattern. It doesn't, the door, in a way, with the World card not showing itself, there can be a lot of people in our life that we still let the door be open towards them if they ever see the truth and work through their mental conflict and want to move forward with us in love. We can have friends, family members, people that we have love for. If you work through these issues and get unstuck and work through your own mental conflict and deal with some of the things that make you feel left out in the cold and imprisoned within yourself and other people you might be hanging out with, if you ever one day want to come towards me to move forward with me in this way, because we're on the same page again, I will see if I think you're telling the truth. And just like some of you have detached from certain things and move forward in life, and there might be people in your life that you want to maybe reconnect with, those people also are going to do this work within themselves to see if they think you're telling the truth. Anybody who wants to come back into our life, it could put us a little bit up in our head, because if I know someone was kind of hurtful or unkind, or I felt they were deceptive or manipulative or kind of egotistical or more about themselves or these things of the world, is that the truth? And so then there could be this conversation. The swords can talk about communication. And from the 7 to the 8, if we think people are speaking the truth, they have healed, grown, matured themselves in some way. And the pentacles can talk about bringing something into the 3D world again to work together about moving forward. And if our intuition tells us that we do think people have learned these lessons, well, then we would be willing to kind of move forward with them again in our life as friends and people we might want to have a romantic interest in. And just like you could be feeling that way about people, there could be people as you're moving forward that could be thinking that about you. Have you really looked at life from a higher perspective? Have you really detached from that old foundation? If they think you're telling the truth, if you think other people are telling the truth, based on the fact that you've all had lessons to learn in life. We all can have past pain and heartbreak that before kind of manipulated us, self-limiting beliefs that could have hindered us moving forward in relationships with different people at different times in our life. But with some of the people we might know, I don't care to have any more of a more involved relationship with you. Again, other people, we could kind of have the door open because we know that they have lessons to learn in life, and we could have felt like they were just had issues of their own to deal with. Most likely the people that we'd have the door open still to is people who we did think were on the same page as us, and we didn't find them to be deceptive and manipulative and egotistical and self-centered or more materialistically driven. Those people we probably have no, I did see the truth of who you are, and we are on completely different pages. But other people, we could just feel like they had things that they had to deal with, or they had a different dream. They kind of wanted to live, it can just be, I wanted to live in a big city, you wanted to live in a small town. I was ready to move forward at this time. You weren't really ready to move forward at that time. We kind of went on different paths, kind of had different things we wanted to invest our time and energy into. But we did really kind of feel there was commonality there. But we can just kind of have those kind of diverging paths in life. So not probably some of the people that we thought were quite shadowy, just people who, we kind of weren't on the same page at the same time, had different interests. Now, some of those people want to reconnect, or, it's kind of like, oh, I really like this activity, could be bowling versus going to the car races. I really got into bowling, or, whatever you got into, and you quit hanging out with the people who wanted to do the car races, right? Just things like that. And then as time goes by, there maybe was still love there, but just kind of moving forward in life differently, wanting to go pursue different things. And then if people are like, I want to... can we still be friends? Maybe you both found a new interest. Like, oh, really? I was thinking I wanted to go to the horse races too, and I've never really done that, and then you can kind of come together over things like that. You're kind of back on the same page again. Now, for shadowy people, I think shadowy people, they have some lessons to learn in life that they haven't wanted to learn. They don't want to see the truth. They're in a mental prison about dealing with the truth of some issues. Either I just have fear and insecurity, I'm defensive, I'm maybe kind of immature, I kind of have a lack mentality, I get caught up in my head, I have a hard time keeping life in perspective. And all of that combines together to cause them a lot of issues in their life. And because some people just can't make a decision, like they get in relationships with loving people, well, then they move forward with loving people, but they're still in two minds. Do I really want to do love, or do I really want to make it more about the things of the world or more about me? They go forward in relationships with loving people, but then they could kind of feel like the Five of Pentacles could mean like, well, I could love this job, I could love these people, I just don't know if we're going to have the status or the image and all those things that I could want in my more worldly nature. And then that gets them up in their head. But then kind of instead of really working through it and trying to get clear about what is my dream, is it, again, because in a world of duality and having a dualistic nature, we have to make choices in life. And some people kind of want both. I want these things of the world, and I kind of want to, those things kind of really tempt me, or being more about myself or being in my defensive nature. But I also want to be in relationships with loving people, but they could struggle between being more authentically connected in with letting their emotional, intuitive nature. Only one aspect of ourself can kind of be in the driver's seat of our life at one point in time. And some people, it's kind of like flipping back and forth. Like, oh, well, I do the things of the world and make it more about me or more about money and materialism. But then I could feel left out in the cold living life like that. And it kind of has me in a mental prison because I might be hanging out with other people who make their life about that. And then maybe they're not very loving and nurturing and warm as the loving, nurturing people in the world. So then I let go of those people, and then I go get in a relationship with someone who's more moving forward, aligned with their more loving, hopeful, believing, inspiring nature. And I get in a relationship with them, and that can be like great, kind of like a dreams come true for a while. But then I could feel like I don't have the money or the status or the image, or I have to be more disciplined, more just and fair and balanced in a relationship with someone else who's more just and fair and balanced. And then, that can, oh gosh. Let's ask, why do some people flip back and forth? Judgment. Oops. They don't want to make a decision. The tens are about completing a cycle. They get in some things, they make a decision, okay, I'm going to move forward with this. Then they could kind of get up in their head, get more up in their head, and then they probably repeat the whole pattern again, not deciding. There comes a point in time where other people have decided, I am building my life on truth and love. Do you want to come with me? Other people, I have decided I am making my life more about me or these things of the world. Do you want to come with me? And some people, they just can't decide. Kind of I can't decide what I want to do. And because they're not willing to pick a path, and other people have picked a path, I'm definitely doing this or I'm definitely doing that, it ends up that people don't stay in a relationship with them because some of these other people just can't decide what they want to do. They kind of want to be deceptive and manipulative. Like, well, when I'm with the loving people, I kind of want to deceive them and indulge in a relationship with them, because if you're not being truthful and honest, if that's the truth of who you are, you're kind of trying to indulge in a relationship. That's not really quite my truth. I still have mental conflict between my heart and my mind. I can't decide. So I get in relationships with the loving people, but then as I keep more moving forward with those people want me to detach from making my life more about myself or my defensiveness or ego or image or money and materialism or indulgence. And then I get up in my head about detaching from that way of living life. Well, and then I go get in a relationship with someone who is more about the things of the world, and I move forward with them in a relationship, but then I could feel like me and them are both living more from our mind than our heart. Nobody's being maybe the more loving, nurturing person in a relationship. And then I kind of feel left out in the cold. And then I want to go back and be with the loving people, and, eventually we're supposed to come in contact with all these different people to help us get clear about what our truth is. But some people, from the 8 to the 10 is the Two of Swords. I have to work through that duality within myself to pick a path, because other people are picking a path. You know, the first 30, 40 years of our life, we could be kind of going back and forth trying to decide what is my truth. Other people eventually pick a path. And some people have known they're more motivated and inspired by truth and love and hope and faith and belief in love since they were young. Other people have known since they were young they're more about themselves, more about ego and image and money and materialism is the driving factor in their life. And then there's some people in the world who just can't make a decision. Well, for the people who can't keep making a decision, unless they get in a relationship with someone else who's in the same boat as them, they're going to just be trying to manipulate loving people or worldly focused people, and they're going to always be in a mental prison. If they get in a relationship with someone who's kind of on the same page as them, well, then they both can kind of be in a mental prison together. And, it's kind of that energy people give off when, oh my gosh, I don't know. Do I want to stay? Do I want to go? And if they get in a relationship with someone else who's in that same energy, that would be a just and fair relationship. So there's somewhere, there's so many people in the world at different stages of life. Some people are still just going to the back and forth. Hopefully, eventually, they'll get in a relationship with just someone who's like themselves, and maybe they could keep moving forward with that person, because maybe it is kind of a little bit of a mix of both, or it goes back and forth enough between the two of them, kind of going back and forth with each other, that it kind of maintains a sense of balance within it. But for the people who've been in a relationship with people who can't pick a path, whether they're high vibe or low vibe, those people have detached from those people because they have picked a path. Some people are like, nope, I have hope and faith and belief in love. I've detached from my more worldly nature. I am staying focused on truth and love and listening to my intuition to guide me forward. Those people want to get in relationships and move forward with people in their life who they think are on that same page. The people who have picked a path, I am more about the world because I'm in a mental prison about doing love. That is kind of my truth. Those people are probably getting in relationships with people who they think are more on the same page as them. You make your life more about these things of the world because you're in a mental prison about love. We are both on the same page. Let's move forward together because we're on that same page. And then we have the people who are trying to deceive and manipulate people, go back and forth, or trying to find the person who kind of goes back and forth with them. When some people picked a path from people who couldn't make a decision, those people are, getting in new relationships and friendships and jobs with people who think they think are on the same page as them. So, what's coming up? For people who harness some high vibe Scorpio energy, looking for other people who want to be more, we all put in work to have stability and security. That's the Five of Pentacles in a way. But also being motivated and inspired by love and staying focused. That the way you put in work and effort in the world to have your stability and security is to offer love to the people you're in relationship with. Having hope and faith and belief that, it's putting in work and effort to have the stability and security in our life, but the driving factor is truth and love. What's coming up for those people that they might not see coming? The Five of Pentacles. Why? Because of the Knight of Swords. You're going to keep moving forward. Why? Because you've seen the truth. You've seen the truth about people who go back and forth, can't make a decision, are more worldly focused, ego focused, want you to move forward with them and stay in a mismatched relationship. And it's like, I'm not going to stay in a mismatched relationship. I'm going to move forward, speaking my truth, offering truth and love to people, to find other people who've learned some of these same lessons in life. And if those I can have friends and family members that I'm moving forward with, but if I don't have someone who is on the same page as me romantically, I'm going to keep moving forward until I find those people that have learned some of the same lessons and seen that the truth is love is what makes it all worthwhile. And I'm going to keep moving forward to find those people. Otherwise, I'll just enjoy my life with the people in my life and all these other things I have to invest my time, energy, and effort into. My job, my career, my friends, my family, my unique talent, skills, and interests until I find that person. And if I have found that person and they're on the same page as me, I'm going to move forward with them. I'm going to defend them and they are going to defend moving forward with me. And if you haven't found that person, I think as you keep moving forward in this energy, there's going to be some people who are mad because they wanted you to indulge them in staying in a mismatched relationship, indulging them in their shadowy ways of being, or some people who want to go back and forth are mad that you're kind of not caught up in their being kind of deceptive and manipulative. Because as you're moving forward, you're moving forward listening to your intuition about people who you think are on the same page as you. As you're moving forward, other people are going to come towards you. And in either case, you're going to listen to your intuition, just like other people are going, oops, got an alarm on my phone, are going to listen to their intuition about you. And there's always going to be people in the world who want to move forward with you because it maybe would make them look like a shining star. They don't like the relationships they're in, but they're still in shadowy energy. And I think you'll get to know them to find out the truth. And, it'll kind of have you up in your head a little bit because some of those people would be people you would thought you could bring a dream into reality with, but you see the truth. And I'm not going to repeat an old pattern of being in relationships that are a mismatched relationship or people who are being deceptive and manipulative or egotistical and they're not getting in a relationship with me because of truth and love. And you're going to stand up for yourself and speak your truth. And the people who are on the same page, they have been illuminated to the truth, and you're going to move forward with those people. What's coming up for people who, no matter what, you're detaching from an old way of living life and viewing life. And when we learn the lesson from having completed a phase of life, you're ready to detach from that way of viewing life and viewing relationships to move forward in life differently based on the lessons that you've learned. I have seen the truth that I was meant to learn from that life experience, and I don't want to repeat that way of living life or workplaces or friendships and relationships again. I'm looking for other people who've went through those similar life experiences and realize they don't like it either, or they learn the lesson and they're ready to move forward kind of growing to their full potential. I want to move forward with people like that who are truthful, just, fair, intuitive, loving. Those are the people I want to move forward with, not people who are defensive to that. I've already been in relationships with people who are defensive to that. What's coming up for the more shadowy, people who harness the more shadowy Scorpio energy? This card not showing itself, and the reason is because of the Three of Pentacles. What is the card? The Queen of Swords. We can all have gotten in relationships because we were heartbroken, and we all have met people that we didn't know the truth of who they were. And we got in relationships and we moved forward trying to bring a dream into reality. And, the Seven of Swords, Aquarius energy, and the Pisces energy is about a dream, trying to move a relationship forward. Let's detach from the past, let go of that. face our fears and insecurities about this new beginning that we're going into. Well, like I say, sometimes we get in relationships with people and initially we don't know that they kind of live more from their mind than their heart, or that they're kind of more about themselves, or more caught up in ego and image, or kind of are deceptive and manipulative. And then as time goes by, people feel left out in the cold and they're kind of wondering, why is this person in a relationship with me? I'm beginning to think it's not because of love. And so if there's people in the world that are doing that right now, they're always going to have some high vibe people in their life that, were wanting to bring a dream into reality, wanted things to work out. But eventually they kind of realize their dream isn't going to come into reality. The Queen of Swords, like the Seven of Swords, is Aquarius energy of, I have a dream I'm trying to bring into reality. And they end up doing the work within themselves to free themselves from the things that manipulate them, that would make them keep staying in it. And they feel, they've been feeling betrayed in the relationship, and they're done feeling betrayed. I'm going to do this work within myself to love and believe in myself and stand up for myself. I'm not going to keep moving forward in this relationship. And some of the shadowy people had people in their life that wanted to bring a dream into reality, wanted to work with them cooperatively, but the shadowy people were unwilling to do some of this inner work to work with them cooperatively. So they eventually have high vibe people kind of distance themselves from them and detach from them. And they probably didn't see that coming. And for some of the people who are acting like that in the world right now, they could have some high vibe people that are detaching from them. And Scorpio energy can talk about the deep emotional connections we have with people. We can distance ourselves from people, but emotionally it takes time to work through the mental conflict we have about it, because we viewed a person one way, but then they acted another way. And then we've kind of got Scorpio can talk about our emotional confusion, and we can always distance ourselves from people, but then it takes time to work through the mental confusion of who we thought they were and kind of realize that their philosophy of life is different than our philosophy of life. And then also seeing how they act once we did distance ourselves from them, that we see the truth. And then some of the people also who distance themselves from some people, they're no longer feeling betrayed. Some of the shadowy people might think, oh, I bet they're still heartbroken. I bet if I didn't keep moving forward in the way I'm moving forward, I bet I could go back and get in a relationship with them. And sometimes there's shadowy people who didn't tell the truth, were deceptive and manipulative, went and indulged in whatever they wanted to indulge in, thinking, oh, as long as that person is heartbroken and stuck, I can keep doing and acting the way I'm acting. While some people are doing that in a relationship, other people are doing this work to look at life from a higher perspective, to love themselves, to work through their fears and insecurities. And the next thing they know, those people aren't in their life anymore. And they're like, what? I never thought that person would work through the pain and the heartbreak or see the truth of who I am or stand up for themselves. And eventually they do. And then they're like, oh shit. I thought I could keep manipulating them or deceiving them about the truth of who I was. And, they were always there as maybe a backup plan. I never thought they'd leave. And now some of those people who were deceptive and manipulative, they're in a mental prison and feel left out in the cold because loving people have left. But because they still don't want to deal with the truth of it, well, it wasn't because of me. I don't want to see the truth about myself. Then they keep emotionally investing in their more egoic nature, hiding from the truth, and they go get in a relationship with someone else trying to manipulate the next person, you know? And for as long as they do that, the same scenario will keep happening over and over until they get in a relationship with someone who, like them, maybe hides that, because shadowy Queen of Swords can be, I'm defensive to the truth, defensive to change, defensive to my more loving nature. I'll work together with you in a relationship. This makes, and they hide, they live more from their mind than their heart too. And then that, again, would be a more just and fair relationship. For them to work with someone else who doesn't look at life from a higher perspective, maybe doesn't keep things in perspective, gets caught up in their head, in their fear, in their insecurities. This makes logical, practical sense. We should keep moving forward in this relationship. It's good for our ego and our status and our image. You know, and if they find someone that they're on the same page with that kind of views life the way they view life, that is a just and fair relationship. It was an injustice for a more shadowy, worldly, self-focused, immature, whatever type of person to try to deceive a more emotionally mature person, loving person, hopeful, believing person to stay in a relationship with them because they're not in that energy. That's not their truth. And eventually the high vibe people see the truth of it and they move on from those people. But eventually these people, and then these people will be hiding that they feel betrayed. Because some people say they're immature, they're bossy, they're controlling. There could have been a very loving, nurturing person in their life, and they feel betrayed that that person wasn't willing to indulge them, kind of in their poor behavior and their ego. But they'll hide that they feel betrayed because they weren't willing to kind of grow up and mature themselves. So now they're going to move forward with either someone who they think they can manipulate, who does have a lack mentality, who is in a mental prison, or someone, and they're going to replay this scenario all over again, or they're in a relationship with someone like themselves, and they really probably don't like being in a relationship with someone who's like themselves. But that's the way it goes. If you're not aligned with truth and love, you shouldn't expect that people who are more truthful and loving and authentic are going to want to stay in a relationship with you. But some people are quite entitled and they think people should indulge them in their poor behavior because they indulge themselves in their poor behavior. Because they're in a mental prison about seeing the truth. And if they stay in denial of the truth, they think the people they get in a relationship with should stay in denial of the truth of who they are too. And some people weren't willing to indulge them in their illusions. So, there you go, Scorpio. I wish you peace, love, and joy, and we'll see you next time. Bye-bye.